Gratitude is a grace, it's a face that can appear when you sing a lullaby and all fear goes to sleep. Disappear into a dream, the voice of the soul sings. You are united with me, you are here where I belong. In the moment is only song, pure and clear, trembling sound, so complete, soft and round, the voice of the soul sings. You are united with me, you are here where I belong. In the moment is only song, pure and clear, trembling sound, so complete, soft and round, the voice of the soul sings. Gratitude is a grace, it's a face that can appear when you sing a lullaby. I was thinking about why gratitude is so important in our lives, and I'm trying to link it to our spiritual connection because both, for example, Merete and Ilse Marie, that's also all the ones that work with the vocal sound therapy, for example, we see that it works the strongest when people can have gratitude in the heart for whatever would happen. Let's say that a small miracle will happen, that you will be grateful for it because the gratefulness is somehow linking you to your higher powers. And what are these higher powers, and why is the gratitude linking to that? That's my big question for tonight. Because in these days where everything is so confusing, I have thought a lot about this, that in the middle of the storm and in the middle of all this confusion, I know it's again and again we're coming back to it, but if we can feel this connection to a higher power, we will somehow find a grounding in that. And the higher power, when we sing, for example, the note from heaven, and sit and sing and open ourselves on making the breath smooth, listening for our own authentic frequency. When we do that, we're actually listening for our path also, because the matrix we were born with, in the Chinese medicine, they talk about the matrix that it's under the navel, and I think it's correct. It's under the navel where the Hara center is, or the sacral center is. And in this center, we are born with a certain energy matrix, a totally unique print. Nobody will be exactly how we are. Each of us are unique. And this imprint will be also the frequency pattern that the spiritual world, if you believe in the spiritual world or the higher realms, will contact you with. Why I say this is because we once asked Dr. Carl, speechman for 700 spiritual scientists, We were a group of sound and science. We wanted to develop the sound through scientific questions, and we couldn't get any scientists to answer us. In the end, we went to Graham Bishop, a medium, which is actually kind of a sleeping seer, like Edgar Casey was. And when we do this, and when we went to Graham Bishop, we put some questions, and one of the questions was, how can we hear the resonance? When we do sound healing, there will become signals that are leading us to the right uh, sound. We know the signals will be like this, then it's correct. So he said, you think it's you that can hear the cells. I say, yes, I believe we can hear the cells somehow resonating. He said, of course you cannot hear the cells. They're very, very small. He said, no, it's our guidance. It's okay. I said, okay, but what should I tell people? It's your guidance. No, no need of that. No need of that. So because it doesn't make any difference. If we think it's resonance or whatever, just that it will work. That's what's important. But anyway, I came to think about it. Then we asked him, but how can you guide human beings? Who are you actually? Spirits, how can you guide us? So he said, we go into your frequency, to your matrix. Do you think we would go into a village and ask, oh, where is Githa living? Will we knock the doors? No, no, no. We just go into the matrix. Then they have us. They can tune into us anytime. So they must have a library somewhere. I don't know how they do this, but that was the explanation. And I think when we feel this deep gratitude to something bigger than us, it's maybe a gratitude, and also while having this gratitude, we feel that we actually accept the fact that we're not alone. There is a higher power outside, up there, that we feel is supporting us. And this, to reach up for that power and start to believe. You don't have to believe a man with a big beard or something like a god and this, but Elohim is God in plural, and it can be many things. We have each our way of thinking about God, and that's also why you can see in the Arab they don't want you. You're not allowed to make a portrait of it, because you should have your own. It's a very personal thing to have a relationship to God, but the frequency and the work, when we start to listen to our matrix and to our authentic sound, who are we actually? Then the closer we will get to ourselves, the closer we will get to up there, because they communicate through who we truly are. And when we are away from the one we truly are, we cannot hear the signal so well. So I find this very interesting, that it's also about fine tuning to listen for the signals.
There's also an angle I'd like to bring up that says none of the thoughts we have in our brains are really ours. They belong to some sort of a consciousness up there, and we're just the radio receivers. So
It's
each and every one of us has his own thoughts, but we're just the unique radio receivers for those particular thoughts. Now, the more gross we are, uh, and the less subtle we are, um, the less we have the ability to perceive those very fine frequencies. So it's all about tuning up this radio station in order to start receiving the right frequencies, which are very, very gentle. And I guess the frequencies that actually belong to ourselves are even more fine than we can even imagine. And it's all about concentration and focus on the right frequency in our receiver.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear this, and also that I can hear your voice.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So, yes, Nadav, that's very interesting to think like we are just a radio receiver, because we have also the pineal gland, which is in the center of the brain. Actually, I had it just around here, I think. Um, we have the pineal gland here in the center of our brain, the purple one, and this is shaped exactly like a center.
Mm.
And we know it's like a small cone, and it's spiral shaped, and it has crystals inside. By the way, there are also some crystals in the ears.
Yeah.
And something else that I just figured out is that the Chong Mei, which is the first of the 8 extraordinary vessels for psycho-emotional pain, we call them that. That was from the ancient Chinese meridians. They took them out because Mao Zedong did not want, and the communistic thinking did not want anything that was spiritual in it. But it's very interesting because the Chong Mei is standing for the DNA and our ancestors, and it's the essence of who we are. And I find it very interesting that we are. Who are we? Why are we like we are? It's not our fault who we are. We are just a shoot on a plant, and we're carrying our ancestors' shadows too. And we have this fantastic chance to realize it and raise above them, lift ourselves to the light. I find that very fascinating. And also the uh, the Chongmei is linked to the hearing, and the hearing sense is the first thing that is developed in an embryo of the senses. So,
Mm.
what do you say about that?
Yeah, I love the question, who am I, is a very tough question for most of us,
Yeah.
because eventually we're reaching a level where we're no one, or no one in particular. Now, the different levels on the way to this being no one and then afterwards being everyone
Yes.
is is sometimes scary. I have to let go, non-attachment to the different personalities I have within me, and be in peace each and every time, shedding one layer and saying, okay, who am I? I'm an accountant, I have a house, I have a car, and then who am I above this personality? So I think walking through those levels of fear of letting go, because we do want to have concrete existence. Yeah, I want to be able to walk into a room and people will ask me, "Who are you?" And I want to be able to have some sort of an answer and not just tell them, "Oh, I don't know who I am."
I know, no. Yeah, because we are here on Earth, and we need to play the game here on Earth in order to develop ourselves also.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah, and I think the more we come into the I don't know level, uh, the better receivers we are. This receiving machine works better.
Yeah, the funny thing is that some people get really provoked when you say you don't know.
Yeah.
Because I had an example also with scientists that when I said they was asked, "What are you actually doing?" I said, "I don't know." And then he was almost stopping us. You can't say that. You are, because that's another world way of thinking. I understand him fully, because he think that was the worst he could have said in the scientific, uh, you know, environment. But it's because here, when we work with the sound, it's very important not to stop the sound in any way. And how could I know? I know that I listen for the sound that will resonate Oh, and even they say it's not that I'm doing, but I would make that story. I'm listening for the resonance, because what comes out of it will be a healing.
Hmm.
And I don't mind if it's the spirits doing it or whatever. We are maybe just an empty flute, and the more empty we are, the better. We cannot
Yeah.
know. We just have to be, and it seems like the less we know, the better. But at the same time, we also need to use our intention to put the sound in a specific place. For example, like what happened to Merete and me in June 23. It's not out, the film, yet. It takes a long time. But that the tumor disappear in Israel while we sit here in my place in Denmark and do it over Zoom. And there's a medical doctor and a radiologist that is measuring it, and they can see it disappear. And we have it on film. It has happened so many times before, but it was first when I just said, "Oh my God, we have it on film." So it in our world, then it is. Huh? Otherwise, it happened so many times, but we could never. So we can't grasp it, and we can't come
Yeah.
with a proof.
Yeah. Do you think in any way or form it has to do with the quantum entanglement, maybe?
What does that mean?
Quantum entanglement is where they manage to connect subparticles of an atom to behave in a mirroring way. And it's done repeatedly, again and again, in labs that work with the quantum physics.
Really?
Yeah. And then they're able to separate those entangled
Yeah.
particles
Yeah.
and send them far, far away from each other, and they still work like a mirror.
Like the
Okay, so
DNA.
the behavior
Yeah.
of one is the behavior of the other, regardless of the distance between them.
Yes, I think that's true. It's like Luc Montagnier. He made it's the Nobel Prize winner from France. He's unfortunately dead now, but I'm sorry about that. But he made in some experiment with the DNA that was in some water that was, it was diluted and diluted and diluted until there was nothing of it, but the water still had their consciousness about it. And then they somehow sent information with about the sound of this water or something, frequencies of it. They just measure the frequency of it and send it to Italy. And then this bulk water gets the same DNA. Like, you see, I mean, how can you explain it? It's
Like teleportation sort of thing, in a way.
Yes, because what we have just found, I just know that it's a miracle for you when that was a miracle, and we must thank for Corona, because I refused. No, I don't want to be that crazy. Everybody called me crazy anyway. You were singing on people. Oh my goodness, we believe in that stuff, and then to sit and do it on the phone, on the phone, and then you are just finished. But then Corona, there were too many ill people in the hospitals, and I found that it worked on the phone. And I mean, anyway, people left the hospital the day after.
Wow.
Too many times to say that it could be a coincidence. So we start to work with that, and we found it works sometimes even stronger than physically. And I
Wow.
don't know if it's about the time coming now, but they said you can sit and, for example, I could take a map of some. Now I just take a real map here I have behind all these ones. A map of, for example, now it doesn't matter how small it is. I was drawing the hypothalamus now, and I tried to get the essence of hypothalamus in different drawings in the internet. Tried just to put it about. It's not so precise because there are many different ideas about the hypothalamus. They didn't go into so much details, But you see what we can do with this. I mean, if we get the help from above or whatever, I need to think it's from above because it gives me the humbleness to be nothing. And then, for example, we could go to somebody with ADHD. I did that in a radio program. It had to be very fast and, that tuck, 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 tuck. So I could just do, and I could see which area was hit in her hypothalamus. And just imagine what we can do also scientifically with this. Because if they come with a map of something small, very tiny, that they don't know how to check it because it's in the brain, we can just sing on it and we will see where it's giving a signal. And the scientists, I'm sure they're very good in doing it in a blind way or something that you can't, trick anything. But I just think it's genius. And we know we can work with a spiritual scientists like this because they know so much more. They have so much more knowledge than we have.
I want to ask you about the other side, the one receiving the healing.
Yeah.
Uh, he needs to be he, she. They need to be uh, very calm, very accepting. Um, is there a way to prepare them to be on their best behavior before they get the treatment?
I think when we talk resonance, that I mean, for example, I think I can mention she was called Shlomit that we healed in June 23. She's a very pleasant person. She's believing, and I believe that the openness, the belief in the higher powers will help it because the atoms are somehow, if you talk about atoms, looser. You can say so. Or we can also, now it's again my way of thinking, and I don't say it's the truth, but it's then I can comprehend it. If you're thinking about a cell and the cell has cilias around, it's very, very sensitive and it's all the time measuring what's going on. Should I close? Should I open? And if there's the slightest fear or the slightest idea of that maybe I will lose something if I get healed. Let's say you didn't get attention all your childhood. Then maybe unconsciousness you got this attention, even you're dying from it. And then we need to go and work with them. And that's why I do courses physically, because we need to work with the root cause and to sing people free of it. And then we can do it online, but it is easier when we together we can hold their head, and if they cry and hold them and do things that they can get through it. Because then when you have the root cause of the problem out, then usually you can receive the healing. There can be some break somewhere, or a shame, for example, a deep shame. I'm not allowed to heal because I need to be punished, or something stupid we all
Yeah.
carry in us. Eh?
Yeah, yeah. Have you ever come across someone who's a skeptic, or you just say to them, "No,
Yeah.
I'm not working with you"?
Yes, of course I have. um, the skeptical, um, yeah, I would never suggest the students to take in somebody that just want to try it,
Hmm.
because the ones that just want to try it might be very surprised that they will get an experience that will frighten them, maybe because the
Hmm.
energy can be very, very high. um, and uh, and if they're skeptical, and the same thing with your family, you shouldn't push it on your family. I mean, I have been there. I've been doing my all my mistakes, and even also when I had the first one, the deaf person that regained hearing, and that was, I didn't know that her hearing was bad on one ear, and then she regained the hearing. I was like, ah, I can help people that are deaf. If I would see somebody in the street, I could hardly not go to them. you see, you have a child with this. Ooh, it was really terrible because people would look at you. What you? Of course, we don't want. You cannot do that. They will not
Yeah.
believe you. So the belief is really important, and it's really a challenge when you start to know things that could help your close relatives. Let's say your sister or brother is ill, and they don't want your help. You can't help them.
Yeah.
Your father, your mother, you can't. You can
Yeah.
look at they go to the hospital and they do all these things that make slowly they die, and that's it.
Yeah.
Can't
In
help them.
Buddhism, they say it's a sin to provide help to someone who doesn't want it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a very nice to to hear.
Yeah, this is where we actually accept that everyone has their own path in life, and sometimes we cannot do anything for another person, even if we have the solution, and we need to let them walk their own path.
I actually we have once that was also during the corona that one woman she called me and I knew her a little bit and she asked me, oh please will you try to do an online treatment of me, because say I can try, because I was not so used to do it yet. And then I said we'll try, and she had a tumor in her breast. And she uh, it went down, you know
Hmm.
and I
Hmm.
was like, mm, so fast, very. And she said, no, it cannot be, it must be there. And then I called her next day, or she called me, I don't remember, and said, is it still gone? I don't want to touch it. She didn't want to touch. She said, okay, but you're going to the hospital to be checked. That's also, I prefer to do it up to a hospital check that we will know. We need to know, is it working? We shouldn't keep it in the air. Oh, believe it will work. We have come to a time now that we have to develop this. So it's good to be checked also. I know that some choose just to stay with it, but what is nice about the tumor in the breast is you can feel it, and you can feel
Yeah.
it's changed. So you don't have to cope with your fear then so much. But then
Yeah.
in the hospital they couldn't find nothing. It was all gone.
Mm.
And then
But
they said,
this is a very interesting case because in that case, it's all gone, but she's still very fearful,
yes, and you know
and
what?
she doesn't want to talk about it or
Yes,
feel it or
yes.
check it. What
And
will
she,
happen in the
and she
future?
doesn't want to have the gratitude for the higher powers.
Yeah.
Here we have the religion. I mean, not religion, but belief that if you cannot have gratitude for a kind of a miracle, it's they came down to help her. If she believes in Jesus, maybe it was Jesus, maybe it's Buddha, maybe it's Elohim, whoever you would call, but it's the highest power that come when these kind of things happening. And I always ask for that to happen. So she said to the hospital that she liked them to take off her breast.
Mm.
She said, but there's no reason for it, dear, because it's gone. I mean, the hospital, they usually they say it's all gone. There's nothing. You have good blood test. Everything's gone. She insisted,
Oh wow.
and then after she insisted also to take the other one because for safety,
Wow.
because it had been in her family. Somebody died from it, and then she wanted chemo. And they all said no, no, but she insisted and she got it. So
Unbelievable.
yeah, so in that way, when you talk about throw pearls for pigs,
Yeah. Yeah.
it,
And this is where we just watch and say, C'est la vie. It's a
and I
part
think
of
we
life.
have to live
And
with it, yes, and we learn from it, and that's how it is. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. We're talking about vibrations and frequencies. I'd like to ask you about the current situation with the energy. Yeah, that they say there's a lot of energy going on right now. If you look at the charts of the Schumann resonance, it's off chart. It's blackened out, and it's really
Really?
crazy. Yeah, we used to have it was for a long time 7.83 hertz. Yeah, the Schumann resonance,
Yes.
and then it went off the roof, and
What is it
some
now?
people say solar bursts and so on and so forth. I think it's in the hundreds of
What?
hertz.
Is it in the hundreds?
Yeah, yeah. And there's a lot of talk about acceleration, and we're moving on to a different era where we're more minded, or our consciousness is widened, or do you feel that, or maybe you witness faster healings, uh, more healings occurring that are extraordinary? Is that something that you see because of this surge in energy?
I see that the shadows are getting more black. I can get really sad. I can get like devastating sad, and it's getting almost depression sometimes. And then you can get so full of gratitude for what's happening at the same time. It's so huge. And for me, it's mostly the healings that makes me happy, because we have, I know it from Marita and all the others that are doing it also from my groups. I mean, we get so, I mean, it's celebration, when we see this energy manifesting. It's so wonderful. And uh, I don't even know if it's for the person or for the just this that it's possible, because it's widening consciousness. And right now, yes, it's been more and more intensive. And since Sippy Ras came into my life also, she's brilliant in a way what she's doing. I mean, I know she has to be very tough, and some people also think she's tough because she needs to be that in order to manifest what she's doing. And she's fighting for this, and since she started investigating this, it's been fantastic. Also, we were in England in January with a doctor and two women with cancer from Israel, and we met there and with John Stuart Reid in his laboratory up in close to Scotland. It was so intensive. I felt I've been looking for where's the right direction for a long time. Where's the direction? Where are we going? What is the right thing to do? Should I just continue doing all these treatments and the same? Then I could feel here we have some energy. It's intensive. There's
Oh,
something going on. You know this feeling that it feels right.
yeah.
Even it was very tiring. It was so strong. And all the people I met there, fantastic feeling, like we're supporting each other, all of us. And I know now, I thought I had to go to Spain because there's a spring water, and I see people getting healed with nature and with the sound and beautiful spring water. This is really good for sick people. So that's why I also am going to make a course here in the Easter in Spain, just 1 week. But then now we get contact with uh, the biggest cancer organization in Israel. I'm
Oh,
invited to speak there in
wow.
June.
Amazing.
So I might come to Israel if the war will allow it. I'm sure it will allow it. I hope we can manifest that all the hostages will be given free very soon, coming out. Boom. I don't know how many buses we need to manifest with that. And that they will stop bombing. I mean, no more killing. And then at the same week, I get invited to speak in Austria, and this is this Hurtan something. Hurtan, I think. Somebody with Enoch's keys, but there are a lot of people around that, also scientists. And I don't know exactly about that everything, but I went to check, and it's something to do with sound and science, and also with the universe. So I thought, okay, I'll go and speak there. It's a lot of people. I think 600 people. And then it's also to do with the Hebrew and the ancient languages. So I think, okay, I'm into that. It's all right. Then I get another invitation. It's all happening in a few days. Oh my God, what? It's also
Oh,
in
wow.
June. Also in June. And then in Switzerland, in Geneva. I mean, what's I'm not usually going to conferences, you see. And then
Yeah.
it's coming right now. And into this, and then I want to tell all to all of you, listen to your dreams. Because then when it's getting intensive, the dreams are getting intensive and they start to tell you things. I've been dreaming about big whales and and then also that somebody was getting too happy and just jumping into the sea to them, and then another big whale, and the person, I didn't know if that person got squeezed or not, but of course it means keep the grounding. You have to keep the grounding. Don't be too happy. Just keep the
Yeah.
grounding. So
Yeah, that's an important principle because we sometimes the spiritual life is very sweet,
yes,
and we tend to be like a kite flying
yes.
far, far above. But actually, we need to remember that we chose to come live here
Yeah,
and make a difference here and bring our presence here into this earth. And this is a very good reminder to have your head up in the clouds, but have your feet deep in the ground. I think you need to combine those two together.
very, very important point. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do you do that? Because then when you sing, for example, and you get into these frequencies and all this, it's like you're getting high and you can't feel yourself actually because you're getting into another realm and you think it's everything is fine, but then when you come back to earth, boom, like yesterday we did a healing. We made a little bit experiment also. Mreta and me healed a group, many of them from Israel, also some from Denmark, with cancer. And we wanted to see if we can do more at once and how it was. And there was also Ilse Marie here also joining now, taking the liver all the way through. She was like, in order that we could detox, that they all could detox at the same time. And Martin Debs, also a healer, he did the kidneys. So we then I talked with one of the arrangers of this from Israel, and she said that she had felt so bad that she had to go to. She thought she was going to warm it, and she went to the toilet, and she couldn't warm it. But then she almost fainted, and then she had to lay down. And we saw her laying down. We thought, oh, she's enjoying shit. So it was too much. Sometimes maybe it can also be too much energy you're sending.
Yeah, yeah. In Hebrew tradition, when you talk about the Kabbalah and the Sefer HaZohar, they say if you're not ready, it might be a bit dangerous for you to study this material. And when you look at Eastern philosophies, they say you need to prepare your nervous system. It needs to be ready to perceive such high vibrations or frequencies. Otherwise, something not very pleasant could happen. Either this woman who wanted to vomit, or some
Yeah.
other people who can have maybe seizures or have something even more severe than that. Um, is there a tip that you can give to get this nervous system ready, to prepare our nervous system?
Oh, I love this question. It's the nadis. That's what they call it in India. Also, that the nadis, the nerves, has to be ready, and I'm sure that that's why we sing the note from heaven. We have to sing it for half an hour to 1 hour every day to open, like to open the flute that it can contain this energy, I think, also, and to have grounding, because you can only sing when you have grounding, because otherwise the throat will, you feel pain if you sing 1 hour. So you have to sing on a deep note, a balanced note that is not too high, not too low, and then with the all the time with the grounding. That's why the sound is so important. And then another thing that I have done now is I thought, because I went into all this with the pineal gland, I wrote a book about the heal the pineal and all this. And then, of course, if we have a electric system in our body, that's why we are on Earth. We are an electromagnetic field that can manifest with a body here, and that's plus minus. So I went into the meridians, and I want to study not as a Chinese doctor or anything, but enough to know the most important points and to know all the, you can say, the rivers of the body, the rivers
Yeah.
of energy. And when you know where they're running, then you can activate them or balance them with a hung, because the hung is, that's the hung sound is putting you into to connection to the pineal gland, and into the third eye, you can say. It's going straight up here. And that, if you would just send your intention and imagine these electrical wires, then it's not as, the, if you put needles, it's much stronger, because it's like putting a metal needle that will take electricity to a point. It's much stronger, but this is mild. And then I'm going through all my meridians, and I just love it, because, yeah, it's self-care. I learned that from Merete Vestergaard. She's telling me all the time, you need to care for yourself. Yes, 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 I do that with the meridians. So to sing on the meridians, it's making a balance. And then also the extraordinary vessels, that's, for example, the Dumai and the Renmei. It's like the Indian system with the Ida and Pingala, Sushumna. They just don't do it to get a kundalini.
Hmm.
They just do it to make the female and masculine energy balance. So that's also running into the spine, that the masculine will actually be running all the way over the head and into the eyes, because the masculine will see and overview where we're going, and the female will just, it will go inside the, let's say, now we're coming to the Kabbalah, maybe also, I don't know enough about it, but in the tree of life, that
Hmm.
the water will come inside the spine. It is not in the edge, it's in the middle, and it's just the female energy is actually, and that's different from the Indian, I think, but it's just the power that will lift the water up and water the tree. I think it's very beautiful. And it's coming from the ground and upwards to reach out for the masculine and for the heaven. I think it's very beautiful. And that's inside the spine, and that will be linked to the tongue.
And when I do the hung, I need to imagine those energetic paths in
Yeah.
my body.
Yes, I do that. For example, one of the ones I do, if I want to do it, these ones, then I'm sitting and I'm singing for my matrix down here. Now we're coming back to the matrix, and I'm trying to feel it, and I start to feel it vibrating with the hung. So I start to feel that. I know that many people sitting meditating to, oh, can I feel it? They can't feel it. Just sing for it. Then it start to vibrate slowly, slowly, and then I'm going through up through the spine to the tongue to the eyes, and the changmei to the ears. They also have some front lines where the female energy will always take care of the roots of the tree. Also, it will water the roots under it, the unconscious part here, and up here the crown. That's more the changmei will spread the crowns, because that's what we are here for, and that's all the, also the powers of spirit, what we carry with us, our ancestors, will be unfolded up here at the heart. Yeah, I think it's beautiful with this kind of stories, and then to activate it with the, for example, Hong sound.
Yeah.
It,
Last time in our last conversation, you
yeah,
gave a demonstration of the Hong sound, and
yeah,
I know many people loved it, at least in my community. I guess elsewhere as well. And I was wondering if you'd like to do something with the sound right now so everyone
yeah.
can join, maybe?
Of course, I will. Before I do that, I will just say that. Also today I had this, oh, what shall happen? Because I have kept everything open. I had this feeling that something is going to happen. So I didn't put up any courses. I didn't put up anything, only this one course in Spain from the 13th to the 20th. I know that's going to happen. But otherwise, usually I have all the year nothing, because I have to follow the flow now. And then today I just set up, because they asked yesterday, the ones that got the healing, the group for cancer, but then
Mhm.
couldn't we get it every week? So I said, okay, then I made the next 10 Mondays. I will do it, or Merete will do it. If there are days I can't do it, she will do it. And then we will make like 10 days for not too much money. If people sign in for all of them. So, and there also we will use the Hong Song, and we will also use to tune into it. So I will show
Yeah.
now what we can do with it. Any specific wish?
Um, I I think if you could combine liver, heart, and the pineal, I
Yeah,
think that would be
that would be
splendid.
good. So, and the liver is for the detox, and the heart is for opening for the veil into the
Yeah.
higher realms, and then there. Okay, I will start with the liver, and the liver is in the right side, and it's also something. It's good to know where they are. These slowly we learn where we have our organs, and it's in the right side under the chest, and it's a little bit over the middle, a triangle. And you can do it with me out there. I stand for all of you. I ask for love and light for all of you. That was the liver. So we go for the heart. And we take the heart center in here. And now, before we go to the pineal gland, I think we should just take our matrix one with a hand under the navel also. And then we'll go up through the spine and up to the pineal gland. And then we will link it to the heart and to the liver on the way from the spine. We start now with the matrix under our navel. there's someone out there that has some imbalance, so I will just sing a real note for it also. Again, it's a matrix under a navel. Now it's fine. I will go down into the pelvic floor and up through the sacrum, this triangle bone we have on our back under the spine. Up through the spine, and you can feel also the matrix of the back, the upper stool coming in the entrance from the masculine power, going up through the spine. Someone having up in the top of the neck, something, but I'll go on into the pineal gland. We go into the center of the brain, into the brain stem, and into the center of the brain, where we find the pineal gland, which is very small, and we will find it just by concentrating on the middle. Oh, I think I'm yawning. It's fine. So we thank for the energy we received. Maybe you can even feel it in the forehead now. Feel the energy. Maybe it's hurting some places in the body. We know from two scientists that the hung sound will 15-fold the amount of nitric oxide we have in our body. And the nitric oxide is killing parasites, it's fighting infections, it's fighting viruses, and it's fighting cancer. Which kind of cancer cells, I don't know. But they said that it has so many properties, and they proved it because the yogis that are saying the hummingbirds have been, or the have been like a humble bee. They have been investigated, and this is the pressure of the air through certain channels in the nose will create this. So now we had just some grounding.
I want to ask you a question, if I
Yes,
may,
you
a
can.
last question.
Yes, you can.
Um, was it measured? Is there a difference in frequency when making this particular sound as opposed to singing, talking?
Yeah, they measured this that this is the sound only coming through the nose would create it.
No, no, I'm talking about the frequency. If it's completely different than
Okay.
the frequency of singing or
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Who knows actually what is the right thing? But for me, there is normal music, and it can also be very healing because it can speak to our emotions and our memory and all this. But then there is the spheric music, which has to do with the overtones. And the overtones, they are speaking straight to the pineal gland, for example, and to the principles of life because they are mirroring or reflecting the P, the Fibonacci sequence. They are the Fibonacci sequence. They are simply
Mm.
built up, and Pythagoras was already showing it when he was living. And then that it's the spiraling movement and it's fractals and it's eternal. It's continuing eternally into the universe. So in a way, what we do when we sing, in a way like the note from heaven is done, the thing is how I got to this, and also to call it the note from heaven, was that when I sang in a very surrendering way, then all of a sudden my tone would be not only one tone, it would be many tones. And it's like if you only see the earth, but then you start to see all the stars around it, that the earth is actually not alone. It's a lot of other things. And all the overtones and undertones would be start to be visible, and I thought somebody else was singing with me because I was like grounded. I thought, oh my god, where is this sound coming from? And that was from this experience of surrendering. When you can open totally again and be totally full of faith, it will be spraying out with over and undertones, and you will just feel like a column of light. But the same thing
Mm.
I do, for example, when I do sound healing, I have to give, and then I would, for example, if I would go to, there was somebody probably having a problem up in the neck because there was some trauma sound when we went through that. I can just go into that. I ask for love and light for that person that have this neck problem maybe, or some imbalance there. You see now start to come overtone. So I stop there because I'm looking for the overtones. Here come. And when I then move up with the sound, I also move up along the neck. And then we can check with the hum. It loosened up in the neck now. So after we both do the hum and the singing, before we could sing for hours on the real notes because we thought it was never enough, but now we can measure with the hum. Will it give trauma sound? It's like the signal that you talked about, the radio signals in the beginning. Are we actually just a receiver? So the It's just a normal signal. And then we meet some resistance, then we know, oh, here we have to look.
Mm,
Yeah,
that's amazing.
yeah,
I actually felt a vibration going on within me when you reach certain tones,
yeah.
and it at some point it reminded me of Mongolian singing.
Yeah, and that's the Mongolian singing is overtones and undertones. The thing is that its difference is that what I at least think is the difference, because I didn't study in Mongolia, but it is that they have certain techniques how to create them. Here we don't create them, we just sing. And then when we reach the right place, we will listen for the signals to come. Because if you would create them, then you are adding them to a body, like with your
Mm.
mind. But we need to not to add, but just to listen for the signals. So that's the difference. Mm.
Yeah, let it flow through you and not be the one generating.
Yeah. And even people that think they cannot sing, they will have these overtones. Even more sometimes because they have pushed it so much, suppressed it so much, and when they give it out, it's coming like a firework. It's really nice then to hear it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think we're past the hour.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
10
have.
minutes past the
Yes,
hour.
yes.
So you have a song for us?
Very simple one that you can sing
Okay.
along, and it's Elohim, Elohim, and it just got Notenli Koach, give me power. Or you get, yeah, you get power from that.
Mhm.
Elohim, 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 Notenli Koach. Elohim, Eloha, Elohim, 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 Eloha, Elohim, 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 Elohim,
Amen to that.
You can sing it with many voices, and people can sing it. So good.
I
Okay.
had a wonderful time with you, Gita,
Thank you.
and
Also, me.
I'd like to thank you so much for this warm and wide heart of yours and the knowledge you share, and it's really amazing. Thank you
And
so
thank
much.
you, you too, and Todal Elohim.
Todale Elohim.
To all the people out there, thank you very much for coming.